If you're from up north, you know the pain of bitter cold mornings and the bleak distance from your front door all the way to a nice toasty warm car that's been started with a remote start. Well, here in Florida, we got something pretty similar, but opposite.
Oh, it's hot.
That's why it's important that your AC works correctly. In today's episode of Tips for Realtors, we're going to be discussing where does all the water come from? From condensate lines, drip pans, sweating AC vents and registers. Why is that water there? Well, to understand that, we need to first go back to our lesson from last week on how ACs actually function. We've got humid air being drawn into the return inside the air handler unit. That hot, wet air is hitting that condenser coil, and that condenser coil is not only transferring the heat outside of the home, but it's also causing that hot, moist, humid air to release its moisture. It's a principle of a cold bottle of water or a dinner glass with ice water in it. It'll start to sweat when the hot air around it touches that cold surface. And when that hot, wet, moist air touches that cold surface, the cold surface forces that hot, wet air to release all of its moisture, and it's got to go somewhere, so it sticks to the cold surface. Now, inside of an AC unit, that's happening at the point of that that A-frame condenser coil. That humid air is being drawn into the return. It's hitting that condenser coil. The condenser coil is getting soaked and is dripping that condensate, that condensed water, into the pan. And then that pan is collecting it and pushing it outside the home, either through a condensate pump or it's being fed by gravity, and it's taking that water outside the home and dumping it onto a splash block outside. And that's the way it's supposed to function. But when you've got areas inside your home where you've got air leaking outside of AC duct into an unfinished space, that can end up sweating and causing problems in your building material. So you want to make sure that all of your vents and your AC duct inside your attic area are sealed correctly so that they're not leaking that air prematurely before it hits that vent. We've all been inside an old diner and seen drop ceilings with brown stained tiles. You know, it's because that air is leaking out into that attic space and causing a cold surface to come into contact with humid air, and it's forcing it to release its moisture and create a mess. Which anytime you've got building materials with 20-25% moisture levels inside those building materials, you're causing an area that's really ripe for issues with mold or other microbial growths, and that's not a good thing. We want to make sure we take care of that as quickly as possible. So that's how it works, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and share, and we'll talk to you soon.